On today's show, Jane dreams about a race while carrying a child on her back, and Anne apologizes for being late to a cooking event. What? That sounds crazy. What are they about? Stay tuned to find out. Hello and welcome to the Dream Interpretation Podcast, the show about life transformation through dream interpretation. I'm Michael Sheridan. This is another half hour of us eavesdropping on the very personal communication between the spirit world and heroes on their journey, because that's what a dreamer is. That's why I focus on dreams. If you want to know what you're meant to be doing in life right now at this very moment, then look no further than your dreams. Through analyzing your dreams, I reveal your potential and the obstacles you need to overcome. I'm very specific. I tell you the superpowers you have, what makes you magnificent or what would make you magnificent, and the bumps in life that are holding you back. These bumps are not in the way, they are the way. They are the work. To get your dream analyzed on my show, go to dream-analysis.com/podcast, fill in the form there and submit your dream to the show. Or simply email your dream to radioshow@dream-analysis.com. That's all you have to do. I will contact you from there with questions about the dream, or maybe have you come on air if you're happy to do that, and you'll get the analysis. Dreams frequently show childhood issues, and they show the timeline of childhood by putting children in the dream. A child at a certain age may show up, and that indicates the age you were impacted. Or a number of children feature, and again, the number indicates the age you need to look at. The children often display a trait you have as an adult, such as hiding with women. Now they show it symbolically, but the hiding represents that you hide your feminine side or your feelings. You don't let other people see or know how you feel. If the child is on your back, then it indicates you have a burden that you're carrying from childhood. You carrying an issue from childhood that is weighing you down. Often in these dreams, there's an obstacle to overcome, such as the need to climb over a wall. And the wall here represents the heart, and the dream then would say that the issue you are carrying from childhood is putting pressure on your heart. But when these dreams start, the obstacle is often quite low and easy to step over, like a very small wall. But the obstacle grows over time, signifying it is becoming increasingly significant for you to work on that particular issue. We're meant to pick up these issues. We're meant to go through life with them, but we are also meant to work on them. And our dreams show when we're not working on them that this is now impacting us in other areas that we need to do something about. So we're going to start off, because we've lots of dreams, we're just going to jump straight in. And I have dreams from Jane. And Jane, of course, I said at the start, has this dream about carrying a child on her back. Now, she's given me a few dreams, and I'm going to cover a couple of them. And she also gave me some comments, which I want to read out. She says, I've noticed in your podcast, you'll mention if people are cutting the ties with parents or if they tell you other significant events. And yes, because that will darken your dreams. If you're working on yourself, your dreams get more horrific, let's say. She says, I have cut ties with my parents over a year ago, with contact only once through my husband, where he tried to make an attempt at recovering the relationship. They were very set in their ways and heard nothing he had to say, so we blocked them again. I still think of them often, and I'm very weighed down by my guilt of not having them in my life, often feeling like being a bad daughter. Okay, so there's more, but I'm just going to stop there. When I say cutting the ties with parents, I don't really mean cutting them off, which is what you're talking about, Jane. I'm talking about a process that is extremely badly named, but it's called cutting the ties that bind. And it's where you look at the negative impact of a single parent. It takes away the buttons that mom or dad is able to push, and it allows you then have an adult relationship with your parents. So a lot of people find they have a much better relationship with their parents after they do this process. But ultimately, you become adult. They can no longer control you the way they controlled you in childhood. They no longer have those buttons they can push. And as an adult, you make a decision whether you want them in your life or not. And so it's a much more balanced place to be in before making a decision about cutting them out of your life. You say that not too long ago, we found out I was pregnant, and my first instinct was to want to open the door back up to them because it felt like I would be depriving my child of grandparents. And who am I to do that? Well, you are the child's mother. You have all the say. So realize that it's not up to anybody else. He said, but I keep having dreams and conversations with my husband, and we've agreed that it is best to keep the door shut, that it would have to be earned to come back in, which is also what my therapist told me last year, but I have trouble believing it. Okay, so that ties in with the fact that you said you are weighed down by, you said, my guilt. Now, guilt is an absolutely useless emotion in terms of growth. It doesn't help you grow at all. So don't make a choice out of guilt. Fix the issue, work on the issue that causes you to feel guilty, and make a choice as an adult. And you said you also feel like you are being a bad daughter. Now, again, that's going to be a childhood thing that indicates you need to work on something from there. And if your therapist has told you something, then your therapist realizes skilled and trained in these areas. And if she's saying that's what you need to do, then that is what is best to do. You say, I've struggled with nightmares all my life. Often they were about rape, survival, running away, things like that. I often wake up very upset or angry or in sad moods because of my dreams, and I made strong efforts to not recall my dreams because I couldn't let them affect my day. Or basically you're saying you couldn't keep them out of your day. They continued to affect it. You said you noticed my rape and nightmare dreams have stopped sometime in the last 6 months or so. Not sure when exactly. Okay, so excellent. But I would say that's because you're pregnant, and the spirit world doesn't want to influence your child in that particular way. So these dreams may return after the baby's born. And don't be upset about it. I'm saying it now. It's not about you going backwards. I'm saying it so that you realize this may happen. But you can still do something to eliminate those dreams. Absolutely. It's very easy to do. So let's have a look at the first dream. So very simple dream. You say 2 women and 2 children were hiding from a man looking for them and his friend. They were all very scared, and the little boy's morale was very low. He was missing school and learning. They hid in a friend's house that was big, and they kept the lights off so as not to attract attention. They stayed upstairs in a bedroom. At the end of the dream, the little boy was getting to do some math and learning, and he was smiling lightly. Okay, so this is part of what I referenced at the start of the show. You are hiding with women. So it means that you're hiding your feminine side. And you learn to hide it in childhood. You say there's 2 children, so it's going to be age 2. Now we know you're a channel because it's 2 women, 2 children. But the number here is going to also bring you back to that particular age. So you may not remember a time when you didn't hide your feelings. So it's important to realize that, because then that'll be how you always have felt you are, and it'll feel normal to you, but it's not. Why is it a boy when you're a girl? Because at that age, you learn to put your masculine side forward. Masculine energy has to do with being intellectual, rationalizing our way through life, retreating into our head, away from our heart, so that we don't have to face our feelings. So if you find yourself rationalizing your way through life, being intellectual, logical, that sort of thing, then you've picked that up in childhood at the time that you learned to suppress your feminine side. Feminine energy is all about, well, many things, but including joy in life, feeling happy, feeling loved. And so it'll mean you're going through life with that very much suppressed. So you're paying a heavy price. But this dream says that's when you started doing it. And you said he was missing school. So school is good in a dream, because school is about learning about yourself. In a dream, symbolically learning so that you know more about who you are, and you can heal the issues or fix issues that hold you back. By the end of the dream, though, he is learning, and he's learning math, and that's pretty good. So there's a promise at the end of this dream that things are going to improve. And dreams don't make light promises. So this is definitely what's going to happen for you. And he's smiling lightly. But you say his morale was low, so that means your morale is low. Or at least you've gone through periods where your morale is low, but it's probably still low. You also say they turned off the lights so as not to attract attention. So that means you don't like to draw attention to yourself. Not a good thing to see in a dream. And keeping the lights off, upstairs especially, because that's where you said you were, upstairs in the bedroom, is about depression. So you've gone through depression. So this dream says that that all comes from this time in childhood when you, as a response to some event, decided to hide. That is, hide your feminine side, hide how you really feel. And you do talk about having dreams about rape and survival. That's a masculine energy thing. So your dreams have a mix of both energies. And often people who are abused in childhood do try hide themselves and not draw attention. Now, it's not about feelings, but try not draw attention to themselves at all. And again, not good. So if that's something you did experience and that's why you're having those dreams, then your dreams are going to be encouraging you to look at that and remove the negative impact. We never can heal an event, but we can heal a lot of how it still impacts us today. So it's not as big, maybe down to about 15% the impact that it currently has. Math, you say he was learning math, so that's about expanding your mind, learning about your, like a new philosophy would be math in a dream. Let's have a look at another one. Very short one. I delivered my baby, again from Jane. I delivered my baby and my dad was there. The baby's eyes were so blue. Dad was happy he would live on through generations. He hugged me and thanked me. So this is giving you what you're not able to get in waking life. So your fear is that my parents won't be around to see my child. And so you get it in your dream. With the idea being like, there it is, you've got it. So now you don't need it in the physical world. But of course, you want it in the physical world. And because dad shows up in the dream, normally whoever shows up is the one that we have issues with. But when I channel on it, they say dad isn't as big an issue for you as mom. What else have we got? The baby's eyes are blue. So this is saying that you have a clairvoyant channeling ability. So when your guides talk to you, they talk to you through images. They give you images. This is something I cover in detail, in fact, on my October event. So if you want more information about that, October 7th to 9th, it's a 3-day event, totally free. Go to dream-analysis.com/free. There is a deposit we ask for, but you get that refunded once you show up to the event. And everybody shows up to the event. It's not about us making money through the deposit. We want people to show up. By taking the deposit, it ensures that people show up. So let's have a look at the big dream I wanted to cover from Jane. And this is where she is carrying a child on her back. And the child later in the dream turns into dad. So like I said, you can probably guess what some of that is. But let's have a look. My friend Sammy and Michael were having a party at their house the night before a big race. A lot of us were starting the next day in the desert. Kelsey, a mutual friend, was also there, and a lot of other people. I was getting ready to leave towards the end of the night and was saying goodbye to Michael. In the middle of it, Sammy falls going up the stairs, and we, Michael, Kelsey and I, rush over to tend to her. We sat at the top of the stairs and talked to her until she felt better. She said her and Kelsey were going to see Abraham Hicks the next day, one of my favorite podcasts to listen to. Michael and I were in the race, and I didn't know there was a seminar. I was feeling a little jealous she got to go because I'd never even heard her mention Abraham. Okay, I'm going to stop there. There's another paragraph about the same size. So parties are about celebrating your birth. So this dream is bringing you back to birth and childhood vicariously through bringing you back with the party. The race says that you're on the karmic path, like you are competing in a race, obviously. So there's pressure on you to do things, and that's what the karmic path is about. You say though that Sammy falls going up the stairs, so she falls, and that means that mom fell down on the job. So she's the one that has the problem, and everybody has to rush to her to give her attention till she feels better. So this is what you're meant to do. You're meant to work on your feminine side in order to help heal it. Put in the work that it takes in order to do that. And that's because we see Michael and Sammy in the dream, and I don't know anything about them. Normally I would ask, tell me something about Sammy, tell me something about Michael and Kelsey and so on. But we don't have that luxury. But we do know mom is where the issue is because Sammy is the one that falls. So mom fell down on her job. You said then also, I was jealous about not being able to go to the thing because I have this race to do. So it's pressure on you, and the envy or jealousy is a feminine energy problem. Jealousy is called the green-eyed monster. So green is the color of the heart chakra, but we know it's a heart-related thing. So this is where you've got to do the work in order to eliminate that jealousy. We know it comes from issues around mom. Let's continue on with the dream. The race was a long race in the desert and it was going for days. You had to walk and carry a child on your back in a big plastic tub. It was a desert, but I never felt dehydrated or tired. It was all walking and organized with lots of checkpoints. There was a very tall incline we had to get over, and I remember thinking it's as tall as a roller coaster and that I might have trouble getting over it, but I wasn't even out of breath when I was doing it and was surprised. At a checkpoint, the person I was carrying somehow switched to being my dad. I carried him on my back. One African American participant was at a checkpoint needing to breast pump. She was upset because she couldn't do it, and one guy yelled, "You can pump to me." So what's the second paragraph about? Well, the race again, that's the karmic thing, and it's in the desert. So we know this is about philosophy of life because sand or beaches are about philosophy of life. But the desert normally implies that you're going to go through trials and tribulations with a purpose of ending up with a new philosophy of life, a spiritual philosophy. So pulling things in so that you could look at life differently and embrace life differently. You say you had to walk and carry a child on your back. So that's carrying these issues from childhood. Anything behind you in a dream is the past. So carrying the child on your back is like, I'm carrying this stuff from the past and it's impacting me today. Although I may not be aware that that's what it is because I only see the pressure that I have, I don't know that it's actually come from childhood. You say it was all walking and organized with lots of checkpoints. Well, that's good. The checkpoints are good because checkpoints are all about, like, have you done everything you need to do to get to this point and be ready to move to the next point? And that's what the checkpoint's about. Very positive in a dream, just like customs posts or border posts in a dream. They're always good because it says you're now ready to move to a new phase of life. You say there was a tall incline you had to get over. So this is what I was talking about at the start of the show, carrying a child and then having to overcome an obstacle. Now in this dream, you overcome the obstacle quite easily, but you say it's really tall. So this means this has gone on for a while. You may not have noticed the pattern in your dreams, but this is how it goes. They start off small and get bigger and bigger over the years. And this one is now huge. So it doesn't matter that you get over it. It's something you have to deal with. It's an obstacle in your path, and the obstacle is the way, like I always say. So you got to work on this. What else have we got? You said you weren't out of breath. That's good. Oh, then there's a person, the person you're carrying switched to being your dad. Well, okay. So we had dad in the other dream. So the issues are to do with the male. Now, it's dad in the dream, but dad may be in the dream in a positive way. I don't know till we have this conversation. But what does throw me is when I channeled, my guide said that your issue isn't really a big one with dad. Now, you're probably going to get on to me and say, no, it's huge, it's huge, it's huge. But they're still saying the feminine energy stuff is more important. So it'll be interesting to see what it is. But it's an issue from childhood connected around dad or some male. You said then one African American participant was at a checkpoint needing to breast pump. Well, breasts are about nurturing and nourishing children. So it's about nurturing and nourishing others. You have that ability. Like spiritual leadership, for instance, is where you nurture and nourish others. You help them to grow by feeding them. Here in this case, though, it could also be about hands-on healing, a spiritual healing ability. But definitely, you've got this feminine energy that you're able to use to help and nourish other people, leadership kind of skill. And her being African American is about getting to the root of an issue. Like, what is its origin? And the dream says the origin is with mom. Just like Sammy falling earlier, the woman falling down. These two symbols together say where you need to put in the work is with mom. And based on the way you say this, is it that in the dream that what you had to do at this checkpoint is breast pump rather than this is just something she needed to do? So I take it that it's part of the race. So you have to get to a point where you allow your feminine energy to grow to the point where you're able to use it to nurture and nourish other people. You say she was upset she couldn't do it, so that's going to be about you being upset. And then some guy yelled out, "You can pump me." So there's a negative, obviously very negative impact of some male in childhood because we had the child in the dream that needs to be dealt with, that causes you to suppress your feminine side. And that's what that dream is about. I hope it makes sense to you, and I'm looking forward to the conversation that we have. And just a reminder to everybody who sends in dreams, when I cover one of your dreams on the show, you get a call with me. And that's super valuable. Like not just in the time. If you were to buy that, it's $500. So you're getting it for free just by submitting your dream to the show and allowing me to use it. And I can then cover more in that call with you that I wouldn't necessarily cover on the show. So very valuable in that way. Jane finishes with, thank you in advance for looking at my dreams. I used to be scared of my dreams, and ever since finding your podcast, it has really shifted me. I now look forward to dreams and want to so badly interpret them. You've helped me so much. So like I said, sign up for my free 3-day event if you want to learn tons and tons and tons and tons about dreams and how they help you in your life. It's not about learning about dreams. It's about learning about what your life is about and how your dreams help you in discovering what your life is about so that you can achieve all the goals you came here to achieve. Dream-analysis.com/free will get you the tickets to that event. Let's move on. Anne arrives at a cooking event and apologizes for being late. What is that about? It's a very short dream. So let's just go right into it. She says, I showed up at a communal cooking space where a bunch of women were preparing food. I got there late at 2 p.m. When I walked in, the women were already busy. The teacher or the leader acknowledged me by name, and she puts her full name in there. I apologized for being late, and she said it wasn't too late to help. The other women sat in a U-shape in tables with plates of food in front of them. Okay, that's the whole dream. And I really like this dream because it's short, it's punchy, it tells us what Anne's issues are and what she needs to overcome, and it tells us 2 of her gifts, no less. So let's have a look at it again. I showed up at a communal cooking space where a bunch of women were preparing food. So food or any energy source is all about hands-on healing, spiritual healing. So Anne has the ability to do hands-on healing. That's where you channel energy through your body, out through your hands, into your client. It's not where you're healing people at a distance. That's a completely different thing. So Anne has this ability and she's meant to use it. But she says she got there late. Late is a karmic reference, so she's not using it in her life. She's meant to be using it, but isn't. And she feels like, oh, at least in the dream context, because when we sleep and our spirit leaves our body, when our soul leaves our body, we know what our life is about. And we're like, oh no, I still haven't gotten into that thing. And it shows up in dreams like this. She gets there at 2 p.m. So we know that Anne is also a channel because of the number 2. She said, when I got there, the women were already busy. So this is about birth, like when you arrive. When I arrived, we call children new arrivals when they're born. So when I arrived, the women were already busy. So the women represent mom. So it means mom was already busy. So mom didn't have the time to give me that I needed. She didn't give me the unconditional love and attention I needed. The teacher, who was a guide in the dream, or leader, acknowledged me by name. So you didn't get the acknowledgement from mom, or didn't get an acknowledgement in childhood, let's say. And the guide is healing that by giving you, by calling you out by name, first and second name. So that's really good. I apologized for being late, and she said it wasn't too late to help. So your guide is telling you directly, it's okay. You haven't missed the boat. When it comes to what your life is about, you can help people. You can still help people. The other women sat in a U-shape in tables with plates of food in front of them. So again, this is about your healing because they have food in front of them. You have the ability to help people, nourish people, help them heal through hands-on healing and also through your teaching and leadership ability. So you've got that in spades. We know that because of the plates of food in front of all the people. And they're set up in a classroom type setting, and whatever gift your guide has, you have too. So you called the guide a teacher or leader, so you have that skill. She acknowledges you. The dream is asking you, or your guide is asking you to acknowledge that you have leadership skills. So you need to get into using those. It's a really, really good dream. And when I asked Anne about mom, because obviously this dream will beg you to ask about mom, she said mom was a functioning alcoholic. So she gave all her attention to what she was drinking, which is sad. So working on the issues around mom is going to help heal that. Another really short dream from Anne, driving in a dense forest. What would that be about? Well, here's the dream. I was driving through a very dense forest to see my sister, Alyssa. I knew I would have to drive back at night, and I worried that my car might break down. I asked my sister to listen for my call, but she said she usually keeps her phone off at night. Well, that's not very nice of your sister. So Alyssa represents mom in this dream, and You're driving through a dense forest, so we know that you have digestive system issues, elimination system issues. And when I checked with Anne, she does. She knew about it. But this dream connects it to the issues with mom, because you knew you're going to have to drive back at night and you worried that your car might break down. So this worry, this sense of worry, and she says, I have a lot of worry. I worry all the time. It's my profession is to worry. So the worry comes from issues with mom. We know from the last dream what some of that is. So working on that's going to help that. And then you ask her to listen for your call, but she said she usually keeps her phone off. So mom didn't give me the attention I needed. And here we have it again. And so even if I directly ask for it, it's like, I'm not really bothered. The sad part of this dream is knowing I'd have to drive back at night. It's like I'm in the dark. So the issue around mom, I don't really know what it is. I'm in the dark around it because nighttime it's dark. And I know that I'm going to have to go through this period of time when I don't really know what it is. I'm in the dark about it. And I'm afraid that I won't get through that. And that's what the car breaking down, the fear of the car breaking down is about. Like, what if I don't get to where I need to go? What if it just makes things worse? And so that's going to be, that feeling in the dream is going to be Anne's feeling in waking life. And the dream connects it to like, yeah, these are your issues with mom. Work on those issues and everything's going to be a lot better. All right. That's my show for this week. I do hope you enjoyed it. Do send your dreams to the show, radio show at dream-analysis.com. And of course, you can download my free dictionary if you want to work on your own dreams by going to dream-analysis.com and getting the dictionary from there. I will see you next week. Take care.